This week on the video, we're going to talk about the lean model canvas and why it's really useful to kick off every project with this exercise. What's up, guys? My name is George Brooks, one of the founders here at Crema, and we're really excited to talk to you about a tool that we've been using for a long time, and we find it to be one of the most effective ways to align our team, our clients, and their team on the central purpose and vision of their product and their business. There's been business model canvases for a long time. The lean model canvas takes a little bit different approach in its focus on primarily solving a problem or defining what problem you're solving and who's the customer that you're solving it for. In between all that is where you actually start to define what's the solution you're going to provide, what are your unique value props, what channels, how much is it going to cost. Really what it does is it takes a giant document of a business plan and puts it on one page. So in order to tell you a little bit more about the business model canvas, I thought we would actually walk you through one with an idea that we've had going around here inside of Crema. So what we're going to do is actually break down each of the cells inside of the business model canvas and show you how you might approach filling one out yourself. The first section that we start with is always the customer. Now, there are some sessions and some people that actually will start with the problem, and I'm okay with that, but we happen to really find it valuable to define who are we going to be talking to, who's the user or who's the customer that's actually going to be buying the product that's going to drive our business. So to give you a real high-level concept of the idea that we've been working on, we've come up with this idea that we network a lot. Is business development for our agency or with helping our clients build new relationships. We are always meeting new people. And one of the challenges we have is how do we build better relationships with those people and remember what the details of the meetings that we had included. So details that maybe we wouldn't think about, like, we know that they work for a particular company or that they have a particular title. Those are things you probably knew going into the meeting. But when you come out of the meeting, do you know if they have kids or if they're married or if they enjoy traveling or what their best place to eat or their favorite glass of scotch is? Those are the details that we want to capture with this simple contact app. The two things you want to think about with the customer is who's the user and who's the customer. So first off, who's going to be using this on a regular basis, and then who's actually going to be the buying decision maker. So who's actually going to be writing the check to you. So I'm going to real quickly put up some sticky notes here. And what you'll find is you can throw out all the ideas of who you think it might be. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pull down who we think might be that early adopter. Who's going to be that first person that we think will buy or will move before anybody else. Okay, so I put up 5 sticky notes here. To be honest, in most of our sessions, we'll end up having probably more like 20 sticky notes in this section. And you can define things like demographics, age, gender, influence, income. But I'm just going to put some high-level pieces out here of the types of people we might be wanting to use our product. So a couple up here are a sales professional, a recruiter, a networking professional. There are people that's all they do is just network. Business development, or maybe even a CEO. I think that the primary person that we're going to get in on this early on is just the sales guy, the business development. So maybe we'll pull down both of these, sales pro and business development. These are going to be who we think our early adopters are. They're the ones that are probably going to be our first buyers. It's an assumption right now, but that's what we're going to bake our first ideas on. So sales professional and business development. Now what we need to do is figure out what problem are we solving for those people. So for that, we're going to the other side of the canvas. Quite honestly, most of the time at this point, people want to jump actually up to this box, solution. They really want to go immediately to talking about, I got this idea, I've got this product that I know these people want. But what we really try to force is clearly define what the problem is that you're solving, and it'll be much easier then to make sure that you're building the right solution. So, in our case, we're going to jump into what is the problem we're going to solve for these networking professionals. So one of the things you're going to find is that it's really difficult to figure out how to actually put the problem into words. So one tip that we have is to write it as a statement. Don't try to write it as one word. Try to write it as a statement about what is difficult about it. Is it hard to do the thing? Is it time wasting? Is it that there are no alternative options to this problem? So try to write it as a statement. So the statements that I've written for these sales professional and networking professionals is that capturing the details that make a good decision is hard. It's hard to get those details pulled out. Remembering how I know someone is hard. So I have this problem all the time that I meet somebody and I go, oh, I remember their name, but I don't remember where we met or the details about that person. And we may have had coffee a couple times, but I just can't remember the details. So that's difficult to remember those details. Profiles online don't capture enough of the personal things that you find out when you're talking to someone. So profiles online don't capture personal info. And then the last one here is it's hard to remember the details. I have the opportunity to meet a lot of people, but I don't have that gift of remembering names and spouses' names and career choices and everything else. So I needed a tool that would help me solve these problems. Ideally, you want to pick 1 to 2, and I think I said this before, but just in case. Ideally, you want to pick 1 to 2 of the top issues. So I'm going to go ahead and say that for me, it's primarily that it's remembering how I know somebody is really difficult, and then capturing the details that make a good connection is hard. Okay, so now that we've defined our customer and our problem, we're really going to skip over we're skipping over the solution because you're going to want to start defining features, but we're going to wait for that. And instead, we're going to go to what do we think is going to make this particular app or this particular product or business unique in the marketplace. So let's get at it. One thing to help when you're thinking about your unique value prop is really to start to kind of think about how would you use it maybe as a tagline. Now, there is some debate about the fact that this shouldn't be the tagline, but that's a really good way to frame it up for someone who doesn't really know what a unique value proposition is. So what's the headline that would be on your website if you were to kind of say what your product's going to do? So I've come up with 4 different headlines or unique value propositions that might work for our idea. So first one is remember the details that grow relationships. Second, never forget the small personal details. Third, remember your contacts. And fourth, know your network. None of these unique value proposition statements really say exactly what we're going to do, what features they're going to get. But what they really do is they address the problem that we're solving for these particular customers. So this gives us a framework now to step back over to the solution and start talking about what is this thing going to do. So I'm going to put up a few ideas, but you'll see what often happens when we do this. So something that you'll notice very quickly is this is the smallest box on almost the entire canvas, yet we've shoved it full with more sticky notes than any of the other boxes that we worked with yet. So what we really have to force ourselves to do at this point is to look at these ideas and narrow them down into what are the top features or functionality that's going to really serve that early adopter group. So let's go through it real quick. So what I've suggested here is that we might have some of these features. There might be a Facebook, Google chatbot. There might be a way for us to have a conversational UI in some place, which we can talk about more later. There may be a LinkedIn integration, so I can pull people's LinkedIn information in. There may be the connection to my Gmail calendar. There might be connection to previous introductions. So like, how did I meet this person? Can I see a relationship map or something like that? There may be a way to set up a follow-up duration. So after I've met with a person, I want to set a reminder to follow up with them at some point. There may be pre-meeting notes. So I know you're going into this meeting. Don't forget these details about this person that you've met before. There may be the push to the CRM so that you go from having this person just be networked to now having them be a sales opportunity. Last couple here are the post-meet survey. And the last one might be, how do we rate the network value of these people? It's raining.
Everywhere except for in the front.
Right here, we're not getting any rain. Okay, so one of the things that we need to do real quickly is go ahead and figure out what is the top 2 to 3 features or functionalities that we want to make this solution really stand out. So for me, it is primarily that post-meeting survey. So I'm going to pull that off over here. And that ability to connect to my current calendar. The 3 things that we're going to do here are have a connection to our calendar so that we can very quickly see who we're about to meet with. Pre-meeting notes to remind us the details that we might already know about this person. And then post-meeting survey. So as soon as that meeting is done, it can go ahead and ask me, what new did you learn about this person? And that way, the next time you meet, your pre-meeting notes will be up to date. So it's totally raining, but we're going to keep going. So ignore the sound. Sorry about that. So next, what we're going to do is, now that we've talked about the problem, the customer, unique value proposition, and the solution that we think is going to be the best to actually solve all these things, we're going to move into how do we get the world to know about this product, and that's through our channels. Channels is oftentimes the things that people really forget, which is you've built the thing, now how do we get it out to the world and get customers onboarded? So let's go through that real quick. So some of the channels that I'm suggesting that this app might flourish in are these four. The first one is trade shows. I think that if you're talking about people that are doing sales and business development, likely they're going to be at trade shows. That might be a way that you can capture them where they're out doing their job already, but that you can offer them a solution to the problem they're really feeling probably right there at that moment. Also, social media, you got to be online, so you're going to have to make sure that your profiles are up to date. Integration partners. How can you think about the people that you might work with in the future and how they can help to promote your product for you? And the last one, video influencers. Video is not going away, and so we really always think this is a good one to look for people that are already talking about sales tactics and see if they'll actually show off your app on their channels. I'm going to stop real quick because if you're familiar with the Lean Model Canvas or have seen it before, you might think, George, you're completely going out of order. And I want to state one thing. The most important piece is that you avoid going to solution first and that you really focus on customer and problem. The rest of it is about filling it in. So even during our sessions, a lot of the times, what we'll find is that we'll hear something that's about the revenue stream or the cost structure, and we'll just go ahead and write a sticky note down and put it up. And then if we do or don't have time to get to those, we'll still have addressed those issues just naturally by happening inside the meeting. So you might think that I'm going out of order, but actually these are the areas that we think are really important to cover first, and then some of these other spaces can get filled in as you go. So jumping in now, we're going to look at the unfair advantage. So why is it that Crema would be the best team to create a product like this? I've got two ideas. First, and probably most important to us, is that we are a dev talent agency with business experience. This is scratching our own itch. We need this product for ourselves, and we're capable of building it for ourselves because we have an existing development team already. Second is that we're really good at building integrations. And this app is really going to be all about integrations. It's going to be about tying into Calendar and tying into chatbot systems, and tying into third-party systems that will help to actually inform us more about the connections that we're meeting with. We have experience with that, so we think that we can really stand out from competitors that might try to do the same thing. So now we're going to look at key metrics. Key metrics are absolutely important, and a lot of people really ignore this section of the canvas. The reason being is that it's the area that's going to force you to be accountable. This is about setting some goals of what you think you can accomplish in a certain amount of time. So let's go ahead and see what key metrics we came up with as assumptions for our product. Now the big drops are coming. So the three things that I want to measure, and I might come up with the numbers later on, but the three things that I want to measure are average rating. What do people actually think about this application? Did they like it? Would they tell other people about it? So there's lots of different third-party tools or even the App Store rating that will help us to see how is it being performing or how satisfied are our customers with the product. Percentage is something that I put in on here because I really want to think about how it trends over time. But I really want to look at the number of notes captured. So our app is about people actually going in and filling out the details of their contacts. So how much of that are they actually doing? The volume of notes means that we really have active users. Now, obviously we want to grow our customer base, but the real important piece is how actively are these people using this product. And then the third thing is, of course, just number of users. So we want to grow the user base of people using this. So number of users over X months. So think about it as a trend. You can look at it either as I got a 3-month goal or a 6-month goal or a 12-month goal, but a lot of times people will look at it as I want to grow by 10% or more each month. So those are some metrics that we can actually go back and say, are we hitting those or are we failing and need to adjust what we're doing? Okay, so now we really want to get to one of the areas that's going to be most important for your company to survive and actually have some shelf life to it. and that's revenue streams. So there's a lot of different revenue streams that we might be able to do for this product, but here's a few that I wanted to point out. I think the primary one is we're thinking about this being a SaaS solution, so software as a service. So this will be something that we can do maybe a monthly subscription to use the app or to unlock a certain level on the app. And that kind of plays into the levels here on both of these. So you could have tiered solutions, so maybe number of users for teams or maybe number of contacts. We can play with that as we move forward, but some level of giving a low cost point, entry point, to maybe a more enterprise level cost point. And that really is a way for us to scale and get more revenue coming off of this simple product. And the last one that's often forgot about is custom integrations. If we're able to integrate this into something like Salesforce, it becomes a really powerful tool to have a quick note-taking app that turns into a really big sales opportunity. So these are just a few revenue streams that actually are going to help to fund the rest of this getting done. Okay, last section, cost structure. This is really something that people don't like to talk about, but it's really important because it really is what's going to make this engine run. So I'm going to unpack a few things that you need to be thinking about with cost structure with almost any business, but specifically for an app. Now, some of these things, if you stay lean, you won't have to do. So for instance, office space. Maybe you can do this from your home, or you can do it in a distributed way. But these are some ones that we would think about here at Crema if we were building the product. Travel. Who's going to go to actually sell this to potential customers at those trade shows that we talked about in the channels? Obviously, development hours. Who's going to build it? Sponsorship opportunities for marketing. Ad spend for marketing and advertising. Hosting to keep this thing alive and still going. Integration access. So some APIs or third-party services, you have to pay to get access to them. Don't forget, that'll be an expense. A sales team, support hours, marketing hours, monitoring tools to make sure that we're tracking our key metrics. And finally, something like office space, or basically a place to work and come together. A lot of these, again, you might be able to find lean ways to remove some of these costs, and that's awesome. But these are things that you might want to at least put up here to consider as you're thinking about, will we make enough revenue to cover these costs so that we can build this thing? We'll find out soon. Final thing that I want to cover is something that's not on every lean model canvas that you find. So if you end up picking up or downloading a lean model canvas, we recommend that you actually add this to your canvas. I'm going to go ahead and put that up right now. So we're not naive enough to think that this is the first time that anybody's thought about taking notes around contacts. There's a bunch of tools that do things like this. CRMs or sales tools have lots of different note-taking abilities, but that's really more for a sales tool. And this isn't really necessarily just a sales tool. There are some people that just have the gift. They have the ability to store this stuff in their brain and call it back out. Not my gift, but there are some people that are good at it. Native contact app inside of Notes. A lot of people don't know that if you just unlock your phone and go into a contact, there's a place in there that you actually can write notes, but it's just open-ended. It's not structured in the way that we thought that we might have ours be. And the last one is your ability to BS really well. Honestly, that's kind of what's gotten me through it so far, which is that I can kind of fake that I know the details until I pick them back up again. And that's gotten me to an okay place so far, but I think a tool would really help me not to have to do that anymore. Okay, just to recap, we just went through the entire lean business model canvas. We were able to identify the problem that we're solving, the customer that we're going to solve it for, the simple solution that we think will help to solve that problem, and how we're going to be unique in that area. We've also identified the key metrics that will help us to measure and keep ourselves accountable, some of the costs it's going to take to do it, and how we're actually going to make money. All of this is an entire business plan put up on one wall. Or, if you want, you can actually print off one piece of paper and do it yourself. We'll provide a link in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. We really love making them, and we hope that they're valuable to you. If you really got a lot out of this, make sure to drop us a comment below and like the video. And don't hesitate to tell your friends and family or coworkers about the content we're creating on this channel. Tell them to subscribe right after you subscribe yourself. All right, until next time, thanks guys.